Hello and welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to talk about the book Bunny by Mona Awad. Let's begin. Chapter 1. Samantha attends the Narrative Arts Department's annual Welcome Back Dematas at Warren University with her friend, Ava. Samantha observes her academic peers, whom she calls the Bunnies, hugging intensely and calling each other Bunny. Samantha notes that the Bunnies are completely immune to the disdain of their fellow graduate student. Me, Samantha Heather Mackey. Who is not a bunny? Samantha and Ava are in a far corner, drinking free champagne and hard alcohol from Ava's flask. Ava whispers, "Jesus, are they for real?" having never seen them up close. Ava laughs loudly at the Bunnies' dramatic expressions of affection, which causes the bunny known as the Duchess to turn toward them. The Duchess, seeing Samantha has a friend, raises a hand and waves. Samantha waves back and waving, while Ava continues to smoke and stare at them. Chapter 2. Samantha finds an invitation folded into a white origami swan in her school mailbox. The swan has a face drawn on it, and its wing reads, "Open me smiling face." The invitation, addressed to Samantha Heather Mackey, is a cordial invite to Smut Salon during the blue hour at you-know-where. Samantha calls the women bitches quietly in the hall, but is interrupted by Jonah, a friendly poet who is leafing through his own mailbox. Jonah expresses appreciation for Samantha's controversial previous workshop piece, calling it mean and twisted and dark, and asks to read more of her work. Samantha agrees, but senses the approach of the lion, her tattooed thesis advisor, and abruptly leaves, claiming she is really late for class now to avoid confronting him. Chapter 3. Samantha shoves the Smut Salon invitation into her pocket before leaving to meet Ava near campus at their usual park bench. Ava startles Samantha, covering her eyes and whispering, "Boo," and then worries about Samantha's long delay. Samantha informs Ava she spoke to Jonah and avoided running into the lion. Ava suggests Samantha should consider setting his office on fire in retaliation against the lion. They spend the day together visiting the Monster Diner, the zoo, and drinking Vietnamese iced coffee, culminating in drinking strong sangria and practicing tango on Ava's roof. Samantha reveals the invitation. Ava suggests burning it, holding her lighter to the shimmery invite. Samantha stops her, explaining she is trying not to be rude since workshop starts tomorrow. Ava finally tells Samantha, "You should go if you want to go," and Samantha agrees to attend briefly. Chapter 4. Samantha stands on the marbled steps outside the front door of Cupcake's house, which is flanked by stone griffins in an upscale neighborhood. Samantha hears female laughter and hellion squeals drifting from an upstairs window. Samantha rings the brass bell because the town is ridiculously dangerous after a certain hour. Immediately after the ring, for heads featuring white, orthodontically enhanced teeth appear at the upstairs window. Samantha receives a text from an unknown number containing the emoticon of a monkey with its hands over its eyes. She considers leaving but stays put, waiting outside until the sky darkens further and acquires a tang of rot. Chapter 5. Cupcake greets Samantha warmly and leads her into the living room, where the other bunnies, Creepy Doll, Kira, Vignette, Victoria, and the Duchess, Eleanor, are seated around a candlelit coffee table. They offer Samantha a bitter, bile green cocktail called the Samantha Comma. The Duchess explains that the rule of Smut Salon is absolute truth. The bunnies present their work. Cupcake recites a poem while shaving a cinnamon stick. Creepy Doll reads an erotic fairy tale in a red cloak. Vignette reads a chapter from The Lover, and the Duchess reads an oblique and circuitous passage of theory, etched on glass. When pressured to share, Samantha, drunk and weeping, fabricates a story about dying with her high school crush, Rob Valencia, claiming they had cosmic, intimate session after dying together during a school play. The bunnies praise the story, calling it hot and sad. Chapter 6. Samantha wakes up in her apartment still wearing her clothes, plus Creepy Doll's red cloak and smelling cinnamon. She cannot remember how she got home. She recalls fragments of the previous night, including the Duchess telling her, "Go outside and bring us a bunny, Samantha, as a Smut Salon dare." Samantha remembers circling the front lawn while the bunnies watched from an upstairs window. She questions if she saw an animal leap into her lap on the way home. Samantha sees a rabbit perched on the outside sill of her window. She screens the image of Rob Valencia's head exploding. She checks her phone and sees texts from Creepy Doll, a troll emoji, a tulip, and an open-armed ghost, and from 2 unknown numbers. She resolves to go to the diner to find Ava before workshop. Chapter 7. Samantha gets lost walking to Warren University and arrives late to workshop in the cave, having found the diner empty. The bunnies are huddled together on one side of the table. Ursula, whom Samantha calls Fosco, addresses Samantha, saying they were worried. Creepy Doll offers the excuse lost. Samantha sits alone at her usual spot. After discussing Vignette's piece, the class turns to Samantha's story. The bunnies initially critique her work as mean and angry. On the second read, however, they soften their tone, calling the piece compelling and vulnerable, though they still believe it needs to open itself up a bit more. The Duchess, Eleanor, summarizes the class consensus by stating, "We want more, I guess is what we're saying, Samantha." Chapter 8. All week, Samantha searches for Ava at her house, the diner, the nature lab, the anarchy bookstore, and their park bench, finding all locations empty. Samantha observes that bunnies are now numerous on campus, sometimes surrounding her in a fuzzy circle when she sits on the bench. Samantha encounters Jonah, who asks if she was talking to those rabbits because they are staring intently at her. Jonah recounts an anecdote about a bear following him home in Alaska. Samantha rushes off after a shaggy gray one crossing the road is hit by a car. The bunnies begin greeting Samantha on campus and attempting awkward small talk. Cupcake shyly offers her a cupcake, and Creepy Doll gives her a sharp, glittering black rock for her altar. Chapter 9. Samantha spends the following week alone in her apartment, eating canned chili and drinking old wine. She attempts to write, but mostly draws eyes and scribbles the words, "I don't know." She reflects on her childhood in falling and the brief period of wealth she experienced. She recalls that the lion, her thesis advisor, cooled their friendship and meetings the previous winter, eventually telling her, "Why don't we hold off for now?" Not a question. Just send me something when you're ready, comma. Samantha sends Ava several texts, asking if she is okay, apologizing, and mentioning a spider problem, but receives no response. 6 mornings later, Samantha receives multiple texts from the bunnies about an upcoming party. Samantha then remembers that it is tango class night and realizes Ava will be there. Chapter 10. Samantha attends the Tango Palace studio downtown, but Ava is not immediately visible. Samantha dances awkwardly with an engineering student, stepping on his feet. She then spots Ava standing apart from the dancers, pretending to watch everyone's feet, and watches her accept a dance invitation from another man. During the break, Samantha follows Ava out to the dark street. Ava acts normally and reveals a new rabbit for coat, claiming Diego in Paris skinned it himself. Ava confirms she is leaving the area soon. Samantha says, "I'm sorry I went to Smut Salon." Ava initially pretends to be angry, calling Samantha a ghost of a friend. Ava clarifies that she doesn't care what Samantha does, and Samantha stumbles away crying into the night. Chapter 11. Samantha attends the bunnies' prom night party at Creepy Doll's house, which is decorated with crepe paper dangling. The bunnies explain the theme is these dreams, and they wanted an excuse to wear gloves and corsages. They lead Samantha to a bedroom, braid her hair into faux medieval configurations, and tell her they were previously intimidated by her. The Duchess introduces Samantha's high school crush, Rob Valencia, who is waiting at the door wearing a dark blue suit and black leather gloves. Rob confesses his belief that dying together during the school play was the most erotic time of my life. While dancing, Rob begins munching on the corsage with a vengeance. Samantha slaps him, causing him and the other men to scream insults, calling her angry and accusing her of sleeping with her professor. Rob Valencia's head then literally explodes, splattering blood and brains all over. The song "Slave to Love" is playing. Chapter 12. Samantha wakes up in an unfamiliar bed, still dressed, wearing the red cloak and smelling cinnamon. Kira, whom Samantha calls Creepy Doll, is sitting there wearing cat ears. Samantha tells Kira that Rob Valencia. His head exploded. Kira slaps her, insisting, "That's what you think you saw, okay?" Kira gives Samantha pink lemonade and 2 pills, saying they'll help. "Trust us," which Samantha consumes. Kira drives Samantha to campus via safe ride. Samantha notes that Kira's living room is pristine, with no evidence of Rob Valencia's demise. In workshop, the bunnies sit closely around Samantha and begin calling her Bunny. They offer extravagant praise for her submitted story. When the instructor, Fosco, asks Samantha about the class reading, Eleanor, the Duchess, immediately interjects, confirming Samantha thought this book gestured toward a complex paradigm of female desires. Chapter 13. Samantha meets the bunnies at a cafe where all the food is miniature. The bunnies immediately bring up the events of the previous night. Samantha firmly states, Rob Valencia exploded, but they repeatedly counter that this is only what you think you saw. Eleanor confirms she has always loved Samantha's work, but states she is saddened to hear Samantha is blocked. They demonstrate the problem using a fenced-in pink plastic pony, Pinkie Pie, representing their desire, which is stifling. The bunnies reveal they are engaged in a major, hybrid collaboration project that is more than a novel and subverts the whole concept of genre. They ask Samantha to join them for a workshop. Samantha checks her phone, finds no response from Ava, and tells them, "Show me." Chapter 14. Samantha, wearing a rabbit mask, is led to Kira's attic, which has a cloudy sky mural and an axe in the corner. Samantha takes more pills, tic-tacs. The bunnies uncover a bunny in a box. They put on matching rabbit masks and begin to chant. The curtains catch fire and the bunny explodes, covering them all in blood and rabbit bits. Caroline answers a knock at the door and introduces Odysseus, a man in a blue suit with a severe hairlip. Odysseus screams. Victoria drags him toward the bathroom. A howling, furry animal man with an axe stuck in his shoulder runs out. Kira kills him with a second axe. After 2 more attempts, Odysseus 4 appears, sandy blonde and scarved, who looks at Samantha and says, "Tell me everything." Kira welcomes Samantha to workshop. Chapter 15. Samantha joins the bunnies in a customary huddle hug on the velvety green after workshop. They confirm they feel a little like God when making a bunny explode to create hybrids, darlings, or drafts boys who ask them, "Tell me everything." They note that unsuccessful hybrids are killed with the axe or driven away. They decide to go to Minnie. As they pass the poets, whom they call reptile people, Samantha sees Jonah waving and asking if she is still talking to rabbits. While walking downtown, an unknown figure, who smells of firewood, leaf, suddenly drags them into a dark alley. A hand covered in mesh clamps over their mouths, muffling their screams. After they hear one of them call Bunny from the street, the figure lets them go. The streetlights go off, and they are left in the blacker than it has ever been dark, feeling lost. Chapter 16. Samantha encounters Ava in the dark alley. Ava greets them by saying, "You're welcome," and identifies Samantha as Smacky. Ava criticizes Samantha's kitten-patterned dress and accuses her of being in a effing cult. Samantha tries to sing a Disney musical song to ignore the word. Ava, undeterred, describes searching for Samantha for 2 months, looking in halls, bathrooms, and screaming her name inside Warren buildings. Samantha claims she got wrapped up. Ava recounts seeing Samantha in a huddle hug with the bunnies on the green, confirming Samantha looked right at me and then you looked away. Samantha apologizes, insisting she didn't see her. Ava softens her tone, and when Samantha says Ava, Ava smiles. Ava reaches out, takes Samantha's hand, which feels solid, familiar, and tells her, "Come on." Chapter 17. Samantha sits with Ava in a ripped-up booth at the Monster Diner, unable to eat the blobs of yellow pus and black bile coffee Ava ordered. Ava shares how she almost filed a missing persons report, worrying Samantha had been killed by the random decapitators. Samantha recalls a recent event with the bunnies where the hybrid Lancelot bit her hand after she tried to look under his glove, leading the Duchess, Eleanor, to take her to the hospital. Eleanor confirmed Samantha was her favorite, but warned her creation is a heavy responsibility. Ava tells Samantha that when she finally saw her on campus, Samantha was in a huddle hug with the bunnies. Samantha feels nothing but dead words. Ava asks if Samantha is ready to listen to her. Chapter 18. Samantha learns Ava is leaving here, though Ava says she doesn't know exactly when. Samantha, distressed, asks what she can do to make Ava stay, but Ava only tells her to cover your ears. Kira and Caroline rush in, calling Bunny. They reveal Eleanor told them, "Don't worry about Samantha. It's Samantha. She's not like us. She's seen things." Ava claims she rescued Samantha from a giant wolf boy who nearly raped and killed her. The bunnies recognize Ava, but Ava leaves, saying, "I bite." Samantha sees Ava talking to Eleanor outside. Ava looks at Samantha, then walks away from the parking lot. Samantha confronts Eleanor, who claims Ava just walked off after they spoke, suggesting Ava was in a hurry. Eleanor then waves over Jonah, who approaches them. Chapter 19. Samantha rides with Jonah, who recalls her previously calling the bunnies C-word scapades. Samantha tells him they aren't nice. Jonah shares details about his father's death and his own struggles. Samantha then goes to Eleanor's house, reminding herself to hate them. She sees a stag standing in the snowy front yard, staring at her with eyes like liquid smoke. Eleanor's hybrid servant, Orphic French welder, answers the door and says, "Hello, Samantha. Tell me everything." Inside, the Bunnies, displaying a gossip glow, announce they want Samantha to lead workshop tonight, saying, "We feel you're ready, Bunny." They hand her Pinkie Pie and explain they have a bunny for her. Samantha is terrified but gives in, allowing herself to be crushed in their group hug. Chapter 20. In the attic workshop, Samantha stares at the snow-white bunny caught for her, trying to make it explode, but nothing happens. The bunnies grow impatient. When Samantha fails, the bunny runs right out of the circle. They follow large animal prints in the snow to a bus shelter. Inside, they find a man in a black trench coat. Victoria yells, "HY, are you a boy or a bunny?" The man, who has full, unscarred mouth and human hands, tells them he saw a red wolf kill a bunny and drag it into the bushes. He says the bunny's scream was beautiful. After the bunnies introduce themselves, the man boards a bus and disappears. Samantha, feeling like a failure, is left standing in the cold. Chapter 21. Samantha attends the final workshop in the cave, sitting alone while the bunnies huddle together. Fosco gives a speech praising the all-female fiction cohort. The bunnies give Fosco a ficus gift, which Samantha did not contribute to. Samantha notes the room has no clock and is told disorientation can be a very interesting space. Kira leads a writing exercise on what home means, but Samantha refuses to share her answer. Samantha leaves for the post-workshop cookie party. Benjamin stops her and hands her a bag of cookies. As Samantha leaves, the lion, Alan Reed, stops her and asks to speak in his office. Alan expresses concern that Samantha hasn't submitted any thesis work and warns that if he doesn't receive something by the end of the winter break, they will have a serious talk. Samantha assures him she has a plane to catch for the holidays. Chapter 22. Samantha meets with Alan Reed, her thesis advisor, the lion, in his office. He tells her to shut the door and sit down. Alan notes his concern that she hasn't checked in or submitted any thesis work this semester, reminding her he brought her to Warren because he liked her such imagination, such inventiveness, such a great voice. Samantha lies, claiming her semester was good, her writing is going pretty well, and she has changed directions. Alan worries about her graduating, noting she only has a few months left. He issues an ultimatum. "If I don't get some writing from you by the end of the winter break, we're going to have a serious talk." Samantha assures him she understands and is going home for the holidays, adding, "I have a plane to catch, actually." Chapter 23. Samantha returns to her apartment, feeling flushed but shivering. She recalls seeing the bunnies in the hall, glutted with Christmas cookies and their own bunny love, happy about her recent failure. Over days and nights, her fever increases, accompanied by burning, pounding head, and singing chills. Alarming crime alert messages flood her inbox, detailing shooting, sodomy, and decapitation. She reflects that the bunnies and the lion are gone, and Ava is definitely gone. She tries to walk to Ava's house, but gets lost and cannot remember the route. Defeated, she returns to her own room, where she finds her phone home screen is a picture of the bunnies, having replaced her picture with Ava. She wakes to find Ava standing in her room with cherries and a smoothie, who says, "I thought you left." Chapter 24. It is Christmas Eve morning, and Samantha's fever has broken. She goes to the expensive grocery store, Forestier's, which smells richly of slaughtered pines and roasted fowl, and wanders aimlessly. Pop music plays, and Samantha sees the man from the bus standing by the mushrooms. He is wearing a black trench coat, whistling, and blatantly stealing items like fancy pasta sauce, cocoa, and pomegranate seeds, shoving them into his coat pockets. Fosco Ursula intercepts Samantha, noting she looks lost. Fosco expresses concern that Samantha is spending the holidays alone and invites her to a Yuletide feast. Over Fosco's shoulder, Samantha watches the man steal more items. Fosco presses Samantha to accept the offer, saying, "You're not the only one in this boat, Samantha." Samantha accepts the invitation. Chapter 25. Samantha arrives at Fosco's large living room, where world music is playing, and Fosco's daughter, Persephone, sits frowning. The only other guest is Jonah, whom Samantha is happy to see. Fosco and her husband, Silky, offer canapes. Jonah openly discusses his struggles with alcohol, suicidal ideation, and writing too much, which Fosco deems wonderful. Silky asks Samantha where she would be if not at Warren, hoping for a horror story. She avoids telling him she would be dead too, or maimed, saying instead she just wanted to focus on my writing. Samantha notes an unseen man continually refilling her wine glass. Jonah says he thought he was going to kill myself for a little while. Chapter 26. Samantha leaves Fosco's gathering and catches a bus, paying with change so as not to draw attention. The man from the bus appears in the seat behind her, his headphones blaring near Silent Face. He whispers that the old woman reading a medical poster has all the ingredients in her fridge for schizophrenia. He asks if Samantha ever found her bunny. Samantha notes his tattoo of a black axe on his neck. He asks about her friends, and she says, "I hate them," and they went home. He offers her his silver flask, which contains green fire. He smears glitter from her cheek onto his face. He leans in close and says, "Home," just as the bus stops and he exits, whistling. Chapter 27. Samantha follows the man from the bus, who walks with a wolfish prowl. He leads her through woodlots and parking lots, cutting through gardens, where he collects a bouquet of twigs and white flowers. He finally stops at a small, leaning brick house with a red front door. Samantha recognizes the house, Ava's house. She runs to the door, pounding and shouting Ava, but finds the knob comes off in her hand and the man has vanished. Samantha stands outside, shouting Ava's name, until she hears a scratching sound from above. Raccoons appear on the roof, including the small one Samantha and Ava cheered on. She watches it disappear, then hears Ava's voice from inside, saying, "Smacky, is that you?" Chapter 28. Samantha enters Ava's house, which smells of frankincense sticks and rain perfume. She notes that lady-shaped lamps are numerous, and a tall fireplace, full of high, leaping flames, is burning. Ava, wearing a red dragon robe and black mesh gloves, says Samantha's soul was murdered by that little girl cult. Ava strokes Samantha's cheek, revealing her gloved fingers are covered in glitter sparkles, making Samantha remember the man on the bus. Samantha sleeps, plagued by night screams, but wakes up to Ava making coffee. They fall back into their routine of writing, drinking, cooking, and tangoing in the living room. Ava dismantles the elaborate braids the bunnies had woven into Samantha's hair. Ava again suggests they blow up Warren. Chapter 29. January, February, and March pass during a heavy winter, providing Samantha a break from Warren. Samantha's hair returns to normal. Although she continues to have night screams, she writes easily, feeling that the creative ability she thought was lost or killed is back. She and Ava fall into a routine of working, cooking, and tangoing before the fire. Samantha thinks she dreamed the man from the bus. One night, a creaking sound is heard from above, and Ava reveals it is Max, her lodger, who moved in after Samantha left. Max appears in the living room doorway, wearing ripped black clothes, his axe tattoo gleaming blackly at me from his neck tendon. He smiles and Ava goes to him, where they kiss deeply, intimately. Max then turns to Samantha and says, "Hello, Samantha." Chapter 30. Samantha is shocked that Max knows her, but he casually says they've seen each other around. As he speaks, Samantha's phone starts buzzing for the first time in weeks with texts from the bunnies. Max ruffles Samantha's hair, calls Ava my love, and kisses Ava again. Samantha notes her own words, "I'm high on love," coming from his mouth. Max leaves, promising to return with dinner, and Ava asks for the animal to be already dead this time. Samantha pulls out her phone, seeing 4 missed calls and texts, including "Bunny, where are you?" She realizes the black leather gloves he wore had left an imprint of Ava's lipstick on the back of her hand. Chapter 31. Max serves dinner, rabbit cooked 4 different ways, which he calls a mouth opera. He rips the rabbit flesh and bone with his bare hands. Samantha feels Max's animal shadow climbs the walls and knows she should warn Ava, but Max actively tries to get her drunk. Max reveals he is a performance artist working on a highly subversive project at Samantha's school. Ava jokes that Max will get his soul stolen by the bonobos, but Max and Samantha whisper they should be destroyed slowly. Max tells Ava she is writing about her. Samantha watches Max and Ava kiss and dance, getting increasingly drunk. Samantha's phone buzzes constantly with texts from the bunnies, including "Bunny, are you dead?" She sees the Duchess reflected in the window outside, smiling infuriated, glutted with knowledge. Samantha screams and Ava rushes to her, but the Duchess disappears. Chapter 32. The next day on the roof, Ava confirms that she and Max are intimate. Ava tells Samantha that Max is a serious artist and an amazing cook, having found the spare room through unknown means. Samantha notes spring buds, realizing it is now April. Samantha tries to tell Ava she is concerned because Max seems kind of intense. Ava replies she likes that he is intense. Samantha goes upstairs to the room Max occupies and finds her old notebook. She sees her old, sad scrawl has been overwritten on the first page with a list of bunny emails and passwords. Max appears, takes his phone, and shows her a text from Ursula about an emergency mandatory workshop in the cave at 5 p.m. He tells her to get going, as the wound isn't going to tap itself. Chapter 33. Samantha arrives early for the emergency mandatory workshop in the cave, a black box theater. Fosco, Ursula, meets her, saying she appreciated Samantha's cry for help email and confirming Samantha has no work to share, so she must just be about listening. Caroline, Cupcake, enters alone, carrying a white Chinese takeout box and sits across from Samantha. She tells Samantha she likes her hair and offers her cardigan. Caroline reveals Ida Me is carved into her chest and arms as part of a collaboration and performance piece, but Fosco says it is lovely. Caroline admits she was worried about Samantha and sent texts, but Samantha claims her phone was having issues. Kira, creepy doll, enters next alone, carrying a white box, wearing a red velvet dress, and sits next to Samantha, ignoring Caroline. Chapter 34. The atmosphere in the cave is tense, with Kira and Caroline ignoring each other, while Victoria, vignette, enters, smelling of sour garbage, in a soiled wife-beater and crinoline, holding a white box, and also sits alone. Eleanor, the Duchess, enters late, wearing black, and looks flustered. She tries to apologize for being late, claiming an email said the meeting started at 5:11, but Fosco dismisses this. Eleanor sits in the corner, tucking her white box into her purse. Caroline reads a poem titled Peeled. Victoria snorts and Eleanor stares murderously at the floor. Kira then reads Wolf Meets Girl, prompting Caroline to cry and call her a S-word and a terrible effing writer. Chapter 35. Victoria presents a vignette called An Obliteration of the Flesh Conveyed in a Sound Poetry of Grunts, using magnetic poetry pieces, and hides her face when done. Caroline continues insulting Victoria's writing, calling it coy and willfully obscure. Victoria lifts her skirt, revealing large bruises on her thighs to Kira. Fosco observes the androcentric leanings and the repeated use of the same boy in their work. Eleanor claims she brought the wrong story. Max, Tristan Byron Hud Icarus, appears in the garden outside Ava's home, wearing Kira's cat ears, and Samantha confronts him. He tells Samantha she must tell him what he did to them, saying he wanted to leave it open to interpretation. He denies sleeping with the bunnies or wooing them, asserting they are free now, from each other anyway. Chapter 36. Max kisses Samantha's hand and asks if she enjoyed it, referring to her watching the bunnies humiliate themselves. Ava calls from the roof, asking what they are whispering about, and Max looks at her lovingly. Samantha thinks of him as her child, a man made of her hate and love and air and one effing animal. The Duchess, Eleanor, appears reflected in the window outside, smiling, infuriated, glutted with knowledge, prompting Samantha to scream that it was her. Later, after leaving a meeting, Samantha finds herself bound and gagged in a chair with ribbons, feathers spilling from her mouth. Two figures, resembling Bunny Lion, Alan, and Bunny Fosco, Ursula, with warped faces and twitching ears, tell her they are so disappointed with her work and call her coy and unnecessarily inaccessible. They threaten her with an axe and say they are giving her a gift that will be waiting at home. Chapter 37. A janitor unties Samantha from the chair on the cave floor, and she races to Ava's house. The front window is open, and La Vie en Rose is playing. Upstairs, Samantha finds Max sitting next to a giant dead swan with an axe in its back. A pool of blood oozes from the swan's body, which is too large for a bird. Max tells her Ava left and never asked him to leave before. Samantha turns Max's head to face her and confirms Ava is gone. Samantha realizes the swan is Ava. Max reaches for the axe in the swan's back and charges out. Samantha follows him to Eleanor's house, and upon seeing Ava's black silk dress on Eleanor and feathers in her hair, she realizes Eleanor murdered Ava. Samantha confesses to Max that she told Ava who he was, causing Ava to make him leave. Max sinks to his knees in sorrow. Chapter 38. Samantha takes the axe and enters Eleanor's living room, finding the bunnies in black dresses wearing Ava's fishnet veils. Samantha confronts them, saying, "You killed her." "I know you killed her." The Duchess denies this, claiming Samantha is delusional and that Ava's death was all for the best. Max appears outside the window. The bunnies rush him, pulling each other back, screaming in an inhuman fashion and grabbing him by the neck. Samantha raises the axe. She strikes Max, and he transforms into a majestic stag with thorny antlers and hoofed limbs, kicking the bunnies away. The stag disappears into the trees. Samantha attends graduation, where the bunnies are sitting in the front row with multiple broken bones, which they attribute to a book arts accident. Samantha walks to the podium, looking for Ava. After graduation, Samantha meets Alan Reed, the lion, who compliments her thesis. Samantha later sits at the pond with Jonah, who agrees to celebrate with her and the raccoon priests on her roof. Samantha's new house now has a flowering tree planted in the corner of the garden where she buried Ava. And that's how the book ends. Thanks for listening. If there's a book you'd like me to cover next, let me know in the comments. I love hearing your suggestions. Have you read this one? If you have, please tell me what you thought about it in the comments down below. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Or was it just okay? If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like and subscribe for more full book summaries. See you in the next one.